Well, as we were saying, before we were so rudely interrupted by that incredible set,
Get
I
in the
had to laugh,
groove and let the good times roll. Damn.
man. But I had to laugh because you know how this, if you've been watching this show, you know we do a lot of vamping, waiting for the band to get on. And they give us these cues saying some of the band is on stage, but there's stragglers and we have to vamp and vamp and vamp. And now the whole band's on stage, but they're huddling on the side, wait for the cue for house lights. And here, apparently, the band just showed up and walked on stage. And we're so glad they did because it gave them that much more time to play what you just heard. And we're going to talk about what you just heard in a moment. But first, David, yes, I mean you over there. Would you tell people why we're here and what we're doing?
Yeah, we're here sort of hosting the Nugs.net live stream of Dead and Company for the entire tour through Halloween. And we're rather than put up a card between sets that says, please stand by, they hired us to talk to people instead. And we just had a great time doing it. And it's just a way of generating some interest in these amazing live streams that Nugs.net is doing with the Dead and Company tour. I've sat in my living room and watched every show on this tour, and it's just been mind-blowing. The camera work is terrific. The video quality and the audio quality are spectacular. So to help draw attention to that, they've provided this extra programming here with these two old geezers talking to people about this music we love so much. You can go to livedead.co and find out what all the options are. And one of the things that this is about is that if you buy the live stream tonight, you can still go back and check out the first set, which you might not have seen live, because you have 24 hours to watch the whole thing. So
And
that's it
still,
in a nutshell.
better still, if you were so knocked out by these shows as we are, and you choose to purchase the whole tour package, you can go back and watch from show number one. And
That's
you will
right.
have 48 hours to watch each of those shows from the time you start watching them. So that's a
That-
really cool deal. And so far, there
There-
has not been a show on this tour not worth watching, as far as I'm
I,
concerned.
I agree. I've been making notes and pulling stuff for my radio shows, and I put check marks next to all the songs that are really, really memorable and worth checking out. And I've got an awful lot of check marks going on. And I was, as I texted Gary as we were waiting as we were watching the set and thinking about when it was going to end, we had been tipped off that Birdsong would be the last song. We need to know the last song so we can get ourselves ready to do this. But when they started playing Cassidy, I thought, any set that has Cassidy and Birdsong in it is okay by me.
Indeed. And they were getting so deep into that Cassidy that I thought, well, maybe they're just going to extend this so far they'll drop the Birdsong. But no, they were all in, and thank you for that. But we have a guest with us who I'm sure will want to talk about the music with us. So let's run down the set list after we bring that guest in, David.
That's right. We have Deb Trist, a.k.a. Downtown Deb, and she's been hosting Dead Air on KLCC Public Radio in Eugene, Oregon for something like 30 years now. And she's also a member in good standing of the Grateful Dead family, whatever that means. Please welcome Deb Trist.
Hello.
Downtown Deb Trist. Hi.
Hello. Hi there. Thanks for inviting me.
You bet.
And this couch tour has been a lot of fun. So much fun. And it's the feed is beautiful. The sound is wonderful. It's just been really great. And I could get used to this.
I was saying the same thing. I always have these pangs to be there with my friends, on the dance floor. I see a lot of them as we're watching these shows. But then I'm also thinking, boy, there's a lot less wear and tear here. And my tired old bones can appreciate the music in more or less frenetic ways, I guess you could say. And you can really get into the subtleties of the music and the nuances and the facial expressions between the band members, the way they're relating to each other. Something you can't see from up on the lawn or even, 20 feet back from the rail. You really get a lot of the interplay.
Let me quickly run down the set list, then we can talk about the music we just heard. They open with Good Times, the Sam Cooke classic. And I feel like a stranger for the ages, man. That just went on and deep. Next time you see me, Loser, They Love Each Other, again with a really fabulous instrumental stretch at the end, and then that wonderful Cassidy Birdsong combination. That's a if I had been given responsibility to make the set list, that's kind of the kind of set list I would have made. So I'm pretty happy camper here.
Yeah, it was very melodious. I love that bird song. And I enjoy the way John Mayer does Pigpen's tunes. I like that.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
been
John
great.
is deeply steeped in the blues, really learned at the knee of B.B. King and Buddy Guy and those guys. So he's the real deal in that department. A highlight for me was John's extremely dramatic and cinematic solo on Loser. It felt like a little mini Sergio Leone Western in there. It's kind of an Ennio Morricone vibe to the solo, and I just loved it. So, but so much to praise in that set, so much to praise throughout this entire tour. But Deb, let's get to you, because you have been in this world for so many years, and we are all three great lovers of radio and practitioners of Grateful Dead radio, to be specific. So tell us a little of your story.
How I got into radio.
Just
We
in
had
general, your life story.
How about how I met the band? Because that was an unusual situation. I was working for the New Yorker magazine in New York, and I took my little transistor radio over to a repair shop that was close by in Midtown, and they were going to send it away because it was broken. So there was a kind of a kind stranger in there, and he said, well, let me take a look at it. I work for a rock band. And of course, magic, and music started coming out of the radio. And I'm like, well, what band? And he said, Grateful Dead. Are you coming to the shows? And I said, well, what shows? A little innocent. And he said, we're playing at Stanley Theater in Jersey City. This was September of '72. And just come, and he wrote down on a little Hotel Navarro card. And he said, just come and tell him the bear said it was okay. And
Wow.
Bear said it was fine. So it was Owsley, who was the kind stranger that I met, who knew he was the alchemist shaman. And so I went to the shows. There were 3 nights. They were momentous. Actually, when I got there, I got to the back door, and Sparky answered the door and said, oh, Bearsley, your friends are here, And it was some fine music. One of the shows ended up being a Dick's pick.
Right.
And of course, I had photos, but then when I got a hold of Dick afterwards, I said, oh, you didn't use my photos. And then years later, David Lemieux got a hold of me and did use some of the photos for a Dave's pick. The one from Wichita, which was not the exact show, but it was from '72, so they used it. They used those photos.
So Bear, you ran into Bear in a radio shop. He fixed your radio, invited you to see the Grateful Dead. That is one of the coolest Deadhead origin stories I have ever heard. Really a good one. Take us from there. How did it go from there?
Well, from there, within a month, I was driving cross country with a girlfriend of mine. And we went through Tulsa because I was a big fan of Leon Russell, God bless him. And Leon was actually at the Armadillo in Austin.
World headquarters, yeah, in Austin.
Jerry, Phil, Doug Somm. It was like Thanksgiving of '72. So we didn't see him, but we did go to his house. We did meet his brother, and he was making the First Church of God was being turned into Leon's studio at the time in Tulsa. It was very cool. But we kept driving. It took us weeks and weeks to get across country because that's how we wanted to do it. And we wanted to go straight to the Pacific Ocean, which we did. We went to Long Beach and pulled over. We're like, oh, yeah, here we are. and a cop shows up. And the cop is like, I smell marijuana, get out of the car. And he did not smell marijuana because we weren't stupid. And he started searching our shredded wheat and stuff. We were living in the car. And some guy was standing there watching this. And the cop said, do you know these girls? And he said, no, but I'm interested in police procedure. So he hung out, and the cop split, and we slept on that guy's floor that night. And next day, Grateful Dead was playing in Long Beach, California. And I guess it was meant to be, I mean, it was special. It was very special.
Fabulous.
And I didn't meet Alan for a while, years. I was friends with the band and the road crew, and spent a lot of time at the Front Street studio during Cats Under the Stars and Shakedown Street. And, I actually, for a while, I was working for the California, I guess it was like the tumorology department. And it was the building was right behind the Keystone Berkeley.
Oh, University of California, right.
Get out of work, you come downstairs, and here's Jerry playing at Keystone, which is very convenient. And he was very relaxed and loving it. And, those were some very good times in the 70s, I have to say.
And then you married Alan Trist, who works for the Grateful Dead, and sort of came into the...
It wasn't immediately, but yes, I met him. He came back from, I guess he was in Crete, in Greece, and actually was spending some time in jail because somebody sent him something.
I mean,
he was in jail for maybe 9 months, and Alan's dad, the Professor Trist from the Tavistock Institute, and Hal Kant went over, I think, with a big briefcase full of money and got him out. And he came back, and then I was hanging out with Sue Stevens, who worked at Zippy's office, Zippy being Richard Loren, Grateful Dead manager, amongst many other managers through the years. And I met Alan before they went to Egypt, but I was not able to get my passport in time. So
damn.
I didn't go. I think it was me, Rock, and Eileen stayed back.
That's a shame. Did I hear, though, that you went on the Europe 81 tour?
I did. And that in the October tour, I didn't go to all of it, but I spent most of the time in London because they played at the Rainbow Theatre. Went to Edinburgh where they played. I mean, it was like the Waters of Leith. It was a trip. And then they wanted to play that Oops concert in Amsterdam.
Right.
So Alan's like, okay, come on, bring Orion. My kid was not a year old, but he was fine. He was totally into it. Sometimes I would put him to sleep, like either in Jerry's dressing room or, I'd park the stroller somewhere in a nice, quiet, gentle space. And went to that Oops concert, and it was hot and it was sweaty, and they played great. And that would be a fun show for them to release at some point.
For those who aren't familiar with that, this was an unscheduled, unannounced concert in, where was it? In Amsterdam? Is that where we were talking about?
Yeah.
Amsterdam, that took place. It was like a 2-day thing, right? Didn't they play an acoustic show the next night or something like that? So this was all a super last minute affair, and they played on borrowed or rented gear and stuff. It's the stuff of legends, and you were there.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. The other show I thought was a lot of fun was Jamaica. They decided to take the family, and they had chartered some planes, and a whole mess of us went down to Jamaica. And it may not have been, I don't know, they played at dawn, literally. And
Yeah.
the venue was like some kind of like a peninsula type of deal. They had fireworks that were the most extreme fireworks ever to welcome, because it was the World Music Festival in '82, also around Thanksgiving, and the backstage was like houseboats, that had like it was crazy. It was very rustic, very rural,
and very loosely run, and they had a lot of technical problems. I was there too, and the Grateful Dead were scheduled to go on at some ridiculous hour, and they went on later and later and later. And as you say, they played after dawn in a fine misting rain, which made for getting great photos because I was on stage. The lighting was awesome. But man, oh man, I remember a kid complaining at like 4 a.m. and they hadn't gone on yet. You guys don't pay me enough for this. And Phil agreed with him.
Oh yeah, those guys were roughing it, right? Yeah.
Right. So Deb, now let's come back around to radio and how you got involved with that, because you've been doing Grateful Dead radio, as David said, for decades now. And how did that become such an integral part of your life?
Well, interestingly, and not really related, but back in the 40s, before my time, my mom did a radio show down in South Jersey, kilohertz. I still have this freaking thing. It was 1,000 watts, South Jersey's most powerful station. And I was born on Marconi's. Marconi's the guy that invented radio, right? So I was born on his birthday. So I always felt this affinity with radio. After we moved up here from the Bay Area, there was a little station in town. It was an AM, like progressive rock AM station. And I called up and I said, I have this kind of collection of music, and I'll lend it to you, or it'd be great if you all would play more Grateful Dead. And the guy says, and he was wonderful. He had like one of these melted chocolate bar voices, like anyway, he said, "You've got a big city voice. You're the genuine article. You do the show." So It was on the job. I learned how to, cue up an album and put in the cassettes, and it was real radio at that point, splice the tape in the reel to reel and all that. And I went to about 3 or 4 or 5 different commercial stations. That was in '86, like April of '86. And by '91, I found my home at a public radio station called klcc.org at this time, because the stream, which is incredible. And I've been there for 30 years. So
remind listeners when they can, anywhere on the planet, you can listen to klcc.org. It's Saturday evenings. What time?
7 to 9. I used to say
Pacific time.
Pacific, 7 to 9 Pacific. But I used to say, get your dead before you go out dancing. But since not everybody's going out dancing these days, it has kind of become like an appointment destination, especially for Saturday night. People are so invested in it. It's been kind of miraculous. They're dancing in their kitchens and in their living rooms. And sometimes I'll do like a theme. If it was Labor Day, I did some work-related songs. And for a while, which was a lot of fun, I would take like a studio album from the band, and I would play all live versions in the same order. as, as the actual studio. I didn't play the studio cuts, and that has been fun. Or it's been like a saving grace.
This is such a strong community, and all three of us have had this amazing experience of doing fundraisers for our stations, and it's just axiomatic that Grateful Dead fans are amazingly generous. And I've been doing the fundraiser on KPFA for upwards of 30 years now, and the same people keep coming back.
Right.
It's a loyal audience because this music just never ceases to satisfy.
It's amazing. It really is. It's, the way it, one thing I've noticed at any moment, at any time, how many Grateful Dead cover bands are there now? But with respectful recognition that is, it's like feeding. It's juice. It's the energy is incredible. But there must be hundreds.
Yeah, there are. There's a website called GratefulDeadTributeBands.com that tracks them, and you can go there if you're on the road someplace, like you land in Charlotte, North Carolina. You can go to their site and put in like the zip code, and they'll tell you if there's a Dead cover band playing nearby. It's a huge thing, and we all knew this. I remember having this conversation with Jerry in '81. That this music was going to outlive the people that made it. And it's true. There's all these guys in their 20s that really play this music brilliantly. And, here Bobby's training his replacements as we speak. This is kind of a...
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Bobby looks tremendous. He does. And they all look great. They're all playing great. They all look really happy and at ease with each other and on stage. But the thing about all these Grateful Dead cover bands also is it's a tribute to the breadth of Grateful Dead music that, you can go see the Grateful Dead cover band of your choice that speaks to the Grateful Dead that you love. You can go see bands that are more improvisational in nature. You can go see bands that are stronger on the Americana edge of Grateful Dead music, or the ones that are more like pure primal rock and roll. Because the Dead's music can accommodate so many tastes, you can sort of, go a la carte with your cover bands and, pick out the ones that really speak to you.
Right.
And I have attended events that were like weekend festivals of Grateful Dead tribute bands, and it wasn't nearly as monotonous as it might sound because of all the different approaches that people take to this music. It's really fun to do. Listen, I should have to interrupt the flow of this a little bit to remind people that nugs.net is hoping you will appreciate this enough to buy the web live stream of the show, because you're going to get the first song for free here on YouTube, but you need to go to livedead.co to buy the whole stream, and that will enable you to go back and watch the first set as well. You got 48 hours to watch the whole thing, and also check out other subscription options for like subscribing to the whole tour and stuff like that. The band has taken the stage. We need to start winding this thing down here. I know, Deb, it just flashes by, doesn't it?
That's fine. I do want to say real quick, Phil Lesh came to Oregon Country Fair 2019 because there was no 2020. Right. And it was like the 50th anniversary of Country Fair, because that started in 1969, so it was 2019. Right. And I have never seen so many people up in the woods. And he had a good time.
He just announced a huge thing for October. That dude is not thinking about slowing down either. What, Gary? It's like 3 weekends of like 10.
I think it's total of 9 shows. The Capitol Theater. His Halloween run that got put off twice is now finally happening with 3 different sets of bands. And more power to Phil as well. Deb, thank you so much. Everyone, check out One More Saturday Night with Downtown Deb. Give us the call letters again.
It's klcc.org, Saturday, 7 to 9.
But it's Dead Air with Downtown Deb.
Dead Air.
Dead Air. Did I say One More Saturday Night?
My shirt.
Dead Air, yeah. I love your logo. I remember that.
Of course it's Dead Air.
Thank you for being with us,
so
Deb.
Sorry.
Thank you for the invite. I really enjoyed it, and thanks for sending out that music, everybody.
All right.
We're doing
Take care.
everything we can. Thank you again. And
That was great.
yeah, wonderful to hear from her. And klcc.org is the call, is how you get to that radio station, and they stream online Saturday evenings from 7 to 9 California time. And now we're doing that thing, Gary, BSing to
Right.
fill the time before they tell us the lights are down.
But
We should
boy,
mention that audio, that the Dead and Company tour is available in many, many audio formats from livedead.co, and that there's a Nugsnet subscription that you can get now that allows unlimited streaming of many, many, many different things, including the complete history of Dead and Company going back to 2016.
yeah, everything except their first fall tour in 2015 is in the rotation, and so many other bands. Nugs provides a tremendous variety of music. I'm a big fan of just going back to listen to a lot of my favorite bands, in addition to all the Dead and Company stuff that's available there. And also, there is now a Sirius XM Platinum package that our other bosses at Sirius XM offer, that also includes some Nugs.net content. So the synergy is just going nuts, folks, and we couldn't love it more. Anyway, now we're in that moment. We are vamping. They're giving us back all the vamping we didn't have to do at the start of the first set. How kind of them.
That's correct. We should, well, we've already plugged Nugs and stuff, so that's all well and good. We could go back to raving about the first set. I was really, really, really pleased with that Feel Like a Stranger, the way that there's something about the energy between John Mayer and Jeff Chimenti that is just hit a new level on this tour. The way those two are interacting and throwing ideas around to each other is the stuff that improvisational music freaks like me just go for.
Yeah, and remember a few weeks ago we talked to the saxophonist Dave McMurray, who's made this wonderful album of Grateful Dead music called Grateful Dedication, and I talked about his version of Feel Like a Stranger and how it kind of takes it into the realm of soul music. And Jeff's playing on the Fender Rhodes on Stranger always has that kind of, it brings a different quality to that song than any other keyboardist playing this repertoire have. And John really has an affinity for that stuff. O'Teal's bass lines are an integral part of it as well. So it transforms the music. It still has the integrity of the music that you love, but it gives it a different feel. And the lights are down. So enjoy set number 2.
From there her pretty face. Maybe the fate of Ophelia, sweeping in her chance to dream, honest to the point of recklessness, self-centered to the extreme. Ain't nobody messing with you but you. Your friends are getting most concerned. Loose with the truth, baby, it's your fight. But baby, don't get burned. And when the smoke had cleared, she said, that's what she said to me. You're gonna want a bed to lay your head, and the little I'm a roving sign that I was born to be a bachelor. After you told me, well, okay, that's fine.